and spinning. Okay, we are now recording this session so that it can be posted for everyone. Hi, I'm Andy Austin. I'm one of the math teachers at Woodson, and I've been using Google Classroom since the county rolled the Google tools out to all of us. I was an early adopter. I don't pretend to know everything, because one of the really interesting things about Google is that they roll out updates whenever they feel like it. So you're literally 2/3 of the way through the school year and suddenly some cool new feature pops up that you've never been able to utilize before. Because in Google Meets, when I'm in present mode, I will not be able to see the chat. Several of my colleagues who are proficient in Google Classroom have very kindly offered to moderate the chat and answer any questions that come up there. Valerie Silver, Kate Wright, and Angela Millsap will all be answering any questions you put in the chat for me. And if it's something they don't know the answer to, they'll just break in and stop me so that I can answer your questions. So the first thing I would like all of you to do is I would like all of you to go to your Google Drive.
I'm sorry, this is Marianne. Do you want us to keep like two windows open so we see you and we see the drive?
You actually do not need to see me at all through this presentation. Okay, I will be talking and maneuvering through the screens. So it's up to you. If you like to see the presenter, feel free to split screen. If you don't, then don't worry about that. Okay. So there are two ways for you to get to Google Classroom. Okay. I usually access from my drive. I come over to the upper right-hand corner where you see the 9 little dots. I click here and then I select Classroom. The other way to access Google Classroom is to type in classroom.google.com. So now I'm showing you what shows up on my page when I log into Google Classroom. Okay. What I would like for each and every one of you to do is I'm going to ask you to join this Google Classroom that I have created specifically for this course. I went through and I created videos of everything I'm going to go over today, because I know that when I take technology trainings, I'm going through, I'm like, this is easy, this is cool, I've got it. And then 2 weeks later, when I have to use it, I don't got it anymore. So I created a Google Classroom with videos that you can then refer back to. In order to join this Google Classroom, in the upper right-hand corner, you should have a plus sign. If you would click that plus sign and then click Join Class. Now, the easiest way for you to have anyone join your class is to provide them with the class code, which I have up on the screen now. Google Classroom automatically generates these codes. So on the first day of school, this is something that I have my classes do. Unfortunately, this is not how you can have kids join your class for third period. So we're going to look at another way to have kids join the class. But this is the easiest method. Another thing to do, because the kids are very proficient with joining Google Classroom at this point in their educational careers, I would list the class codes by period on Blackboard. That way, when kids came in late, I made it a permanent announcement. They always had access to that classroom code. All right, we have to actually create a classroom for our third period classes. So in the upper left-hand corner, you will see 3 horizontal bars. That is our main menu. If you would click on that main menu and then click on Classes, coming back to your main Google Classroom screen. We're going to go back to the upper right-hand side and click the plus sign. And this time I need you to click Create Class. All right, we are being required to name this class Learning Seminar. And for the section, period 3. Okay, click Create. Wait for Google Classroom to catch up with you. Patience is important. And you should have your first classroom. There's nothing in it. And we're going to talk about how to add students, how to add assignments, materials, topics, and so on. Now, if you have never ever created a Google Classroom before, you're going to get a number of pop-ups with helpful hints. Just click Got It, because I will go over each one of those hints, just not necessarily in the same order Google Classroom wants to talk about them. If you have created a Google Classroom before, those hints are not going to pop up. Alrighty, first off, settings. Okay. Select theme. So Google Classroom randomly assigned you a theme. My theme happens to be blue with graduation caps. Your theme is most likely different because it is random. If in your blue banner, or whatever color your banner is, on the bottom right-hand side, if you will click on Select Theme, Google Classroom has generated a lot of options for you. You can scroll through each of these and pick something that looks good to you. Mm. Okay, once you've found a theme that you like, simply click on it so that you get a check mark. And then in the bottom left-hand corner, select class theme. It will update your banner. There is a way to create custom banners, but that's more advanced than today's classes. I do have a video on how to do it though in the Google Classroom I had you join when we first got started. Okay, the next set of settings I want us to take a look at will be under your settings wheel. In the upper right-hand corner, there's a settings wheel. If you will click there, okay, you're going to see where you've got the class name and the period already entered. If you scroll down, you'll see your invite codes. There's a link to send out to invite. There's the class code, which we've already talked about. The link is what you're going to be using when you invite your students to join for third period. Stream. Stream is really important. Your stream in Google Classroom is your announcements page. You want that as clean and as uncluttered as possible, okay? I personally do not allow my students to comment in the stream. I teach freshmen. Enough said, right? So I'm going to click this drop-down menu, and only teachers can post or comment. That way I don't have to constantly be monitoring the stream to make sure that the students are not saying something inappropriate.
Hey, Andy, I'm going to jump in real quick.
Sure.
Number one, is there a way for you to zoom in specifically on what you're looking at right now so it's a little bit bigger for us? I don't know if you can. And number
I
two,
don't know if I can
for
either.
a minute and just make sure everyone's caught up with you before you keep going.
Sure. Let me see. Can I zoom? I have no idea if I can in this.
Try Control Plus.
Yeah.
Yep, that's working.
Is that working?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's much better.
Awesome. I couldn't tell if that would work on your side of things or if it would just work on mine. The things you learn. Yay. Thank you. All right. If you need another second or two to catch up with where we are, say something in the chat so that we know to pause for another minute. Okay. In addition to, pause please, sure. Yes, I have thunder here too. My dogs have been given their pre-thunder medication. Okay, I'm going to move on. I just talked about changing the comments in the stream. All right, classwork on the stream. This one's super important. If you don't change this, every time you post an assignment for kids or you post materials for kids, it's going to go on your announcements page and your announcements will get buried. Please change this to hide notifications. You want that stream page to be nothing but announcements and as clean as possible. Okay. The rest of this we're going to leave alone for now. So in the upper right-hand corner, there is a save button. Mine is blue. Yours may be a different color depending on what theme you selected at the beginning. All right, still under the idea of settings. If you would come over to the left-hand side where the main menu is located, okay, the 3 horizontal bars, and click, then scroll all the way to the bottom to where you see another settings wheel. Click on that settings wheel. Okay, here's a good place if you want to upload a picture of yourself. I used a Bitmoji of myself because I really don't like pictures instead of just the letters for your name. What I want to talk about are the email notifications. Okay. Right now, I receive email notifications anytime anybody comments on one of my posts, names me in a comment, writes private comments on their work. So a lot of times students will say, Miss Austin, I'm really lost on this. I get an email that tells me to get in touch with that particular student. For classes you're enrolled in, these are settings that the students also have. Be notified when you have work being returned to you or grades being returned to you. being notified of invitations, being notified about due dates. This top one right here is the one that notifies you as a student that there's work assigned to you. I never let the kids turn that off. Here's what I would like you to think about. Under classes you teach, notice that I only have one of these turned on. The other 3 options are turned off from me. Okay. Late submissions, I turned that off because during distance learning, the vast majority of my students turned in things late. And I was getting 80 to 90 late emails. I didn't want those, so I turned it off. I also turned off an email every time a child resubmitted something because I had students who thought they could resubmit everything. And you can redo it, but that doesn't mean I'm going back and regrading it. So I turned that off. I left on invitations to co-teach because I need to know. I need to know that my co-teacher wants me to back up her class, or one of the other math teachers need me to back up their class. And I turned off scheduled posts. And we can talk about scheduled posts in a more advanced class, but I didn't need to know that those were actually being processed. All right, you can actually turn on and off notifications on a class-specific level by using this drop down here for class notifications. That's a personal decision. I wouldn't turn off the notifications in a class that you're teaching. I have been known to turn them off in classes where I'm students. Shh. Okay. All right, so we're done talking about settings. If you would come up to the very top where you've got the 3 horizontal bars for the main menu in the upper left-hand corner, click there, and then go to your learning seminar and click there. All righty. For our learning seminar class, we're not going to be able to give them the code to log in. We're going to have to send them emails inviting them to join our class, and we're supposed to get that done by the end of the week. Now, unfortunately, Student Services has not put your 3rd period into SIS yet. So you can't actually start adding your kids. All I can do is show you how to do it for when the time comes. We are going to go to People. Okay, 3rd tab at the top.
Okay, Andy, can we pause for a second just to make sure, is everyone caught up with us? If you need another moment, please let us know in the before Andy continues. Thank you.
I have a question for Andy.
Sure.
Andy, when you were on the settings part, the part that you just finished up, was that setting the settings for your entire Google Classroom, or was that setting the settings just for that particular class?
The entire Google Classroom.
Okay. So if
Any
you're going to
class you're teaching.
if you do the settings while you have the class open, that's just doing settings for the specific class. But if you do it outside of that, it's for all of Google then.
Correct.
Okay.
Do we need another moment?
I think we're good.
Okay. All righty. People. So under teachers, I invite my team teacher to everything because she's my backup in case I get hit by a bus or the stomach bug, whichever one's more likely this year, right? So where you see the little person symbol with a plus sign, I would simply click here. And I'm just going to type in her name, Amy Vasquez. You don't have to type all of it. Your team teacher will pop up, or your best buddy in the building who's going to cover for you if you're sick. Once you have clicked on their name, come down and click invite. One of the things administration is asking us to do is to make sure you have at least one buddy in the building who can log into your Google Classroom, who can log into your Blackboard and step in for you if you're sick for a couple of days, right? It's also just a good practice. I've been caught in IEPs and not made it back to class on time and texted my team teacher, please get class going, even in a class she isn't teaching. Just, you know, things happen. All right, if we scroll down, you will see students. So the way you're going to have to invite your students is by clicking on the little person symbol with the plus sign, and you can either type in their name or type in their student number. Okay, so I'm going to pick on a couple of students I know really well. Typed in her name and click on her. Okay, I can type in another student. Oh, let's see. Here we go. All right, once I have typed in all of my students for my third period class, I'm going to click invite, and it's going to send them emails asking them to join this particular class. Now, if you make a mistake, it's no big deal. You come over here and you click on the students that you want to change. These little check boxes. Actions. I can remove them. Since they haven't responded to the invite, they're never going to see it. It's going to pull it right out of their email. If you had a student who was in your class and they transferred to another math teacher, you can remove them from your Google Classroom the same way. If you have a student who has a very common name, then I would use their student ID, because they're all accessing this with their @fcpsschools.net account.
Andy, question.
Mhm.
So you have to physically type in each student's name, or can you download it from some, Excel spreadsheet or something like that?
For third period, you're going to have to type in every student's name. Okay, for all of your other classes, you can have them join Google Classroom the way you joined my class at the very beginning, by simply giving them the code.
Hi, this is Beth Kobe. I don't mean to be dense,
Mhm.
but why? Why is it different for third period?
Because you're not meeting with them before they have to be in Google Classroom, right? So when we meet with our regular classes starting September 8th, you will have sent them a BBCU link to join you in BBCU. Okay. With third period, we're meeting with them before school starts, and so this is like sending them the BBCU link.
Okay,
Yeah.
I missed the memo and we're meeting them before school starts, but great, I'm glad I know.
Yep. I think
This is
it's September 2nd, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes, Andy, September 2nd. And something that I just realized, could we adjust the names that say like learning seminar, like learning seminar handler? Because now I have like 4 learning seminars, like 4 different classrooms that are now labeled learning seminar.
You know, I don't think administration thought about that. And I would say as long as it starts off learning seminar, yes, you could add. They just want it to start learning seminar so that it's consistent across the kids.
Oh, well, George is here. George, do you feel like that would be okay if it said learning seminar hyphen right, learning seminar hyphen Newicki, learning seminar hyphen handler? Just so that,
Yeah, Kate, I don't think that's a problem.
okay,
I wouldn't
perfect.
see that as a problem. And I'll let our team know.
Okay.
I have a follow-up to my dense question.
No, please, you're not dense. Google Classroom takes some getting used to.
Okay. No, my questions are more about this third period. So when we meet with the students in our third period class on September 2nd, we'll be meeting with them in Google Meet, not BBC.
Correct.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Even though, are they going to be a smaller group than the,
It's my understanding it's
Those are
roughly
honors
20
classes?
kids for third period.
so, okay. I'm
I'm confused
fine with that.
too. Why are we meeting in Google Meets and not through BBCU? Or do we know? Is there a
I
reason?
don't have the answer to that.
Okay.
I just know that for the third period
Sure.
virtual open house kind of thing, we're supposed to meet through Google Meets using this Google Classroom.
Okay, because I don't know how to do a Google Meets invite, but okay.
Oh, well, the nice thing is that I'm going to show you that.
Before you move on, I have
Sure.
a question.
Okay.
So one of the problems with inviting the students and then in dealing with freshmen is they would lose the link, they would lose, right? We all know about that. And so in BBCU, we learned how to like quickly send everybody the email again, or one person. So I can see that, like, I invited my team teacher and you all said that she would receive an email. How do I know that, or don't I, that my team teacher or the student has accepted this? That's question one.
Okay.
And question two is, and if they haven't, or they've lost it or whatever, how do I resend it?
All right. Valerie, I'm about to add you in. Would you accept it real quick so that everyone can see the difference between Amy, who is not accepted, and you who will accept?
Working on it. It's thinking.
Okay.
Here we
So
go.
right now, as I'm looking at people, right, my name is nice and dark. I'm in the class. Amy's is slightly grayed out and it says parentheses invited. And so does Valerie's at the moment. Her name is slightly grayed out and it says parentheses invited.
Andy, go ahead. There you go. No.
Okay, she has accepted. Do you see how her name is now darker and we've
Yes.
lost that parentheses invited to the side?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now I'm going to remove Valerie. Let's say I don't like her anymore and I don't want her in my classes. I can come to the three dots and simply click remove. Go ahead and confirm it. And that'll also help keep Valerie from having 20 learning seminars showing up in her list right now. All right, guys, moving on. We have now invited a team teacher or a backup teacher. We have now invited students. On your top, let's take a look at classwork. All right, so under classwork, there are three main categories. The first category is just plain old materials. You want students to read it. You want students to watch the video. You want students to have an anchor chart, but they don't have to do anything with that information. They don't have to modify it. They don't have to send it back to you. It is just information. In order to give them static materials, we're going to click this Create button on the upper left-hand side, and we're going to select Material. Okay. Once you click on Material, you can title it whatever you want and give them any directions. Watch this video and be prepared to discuss it. Read this article and be prepared to discuss it. That's completely up to you. Down here at the bottom, I have an Add button. This is going to allow me to take something from my Google Drive, link to an outside website or YouTube video, pull something from my computer under File, or they actually have a specific YouTube link. I'm going to pull something from my Google Drive, And let's see. Here we go. My slant for distance learning handout. Over on the right-hand side, you can see 4, and there's a drop-down menu. Right now, this is only going into my learning seminar. When I click the drop-down menu, all of the classes that I teach pop up. Okay, so if I also want this to go into my 5th period and my CT, I can simply check off those classes and then click outside the drop-down. This handout is now going into 3 classes. So the nice thing with this is you don't have to do separate postings into each of your Google Classrooms. I teach 3 geometries. I only have to post things one time, and I can simply select all 3 classes at once. The default in Google Classroom is all students.
Andy, can you pause for 1 second?
Sure.
Terry asked, where did you click on for, quote unquote?
I was taking notes. Sorry. I looked away.
That's okay. Did you get as far as opening up the material window?
Yeah, I've got create. I can do create. Yep.
Okay. So the 4 is on the right-hand side of that screen.
Okay. I'm seeing it. Thank you.
No problem.
There was also some discussion in the chat about what we need to post. So they actually just put up a link on our teacher return schedule for our communication day. I put it in the link, is what has come out so far. It sort of walks you through step by step what you have to do for that day. So you have it for reference, but make sure you're still paying attention to what Andy's doing.
So
Thank you.
clarification, the document that Valerie just put into the chat is not what you are adding to Google Classroom. It is the directions for what you are adding to Google Classroom. And it is also found in the 2020-2021 teacher return week schedule.
Awesome. Okay. You can't do anything with the student drop-down link right now because we don't have students in this class. But the nice thing is you don't have to assign things to everybody in the classroom. You can assign, if you're doing a group project and you want to assign materials to just 4 kids at a time, you can literally check just those 4 students. It's a nice way to pass out jigsaw materials or project materials, remediation or intervention materials if you don't need it to go to everybody. I team teach, and last year I had deaf and hard of hearing students. When I got the interpreter and transliterator videos, I would only select my deaf and hard of hearing students to be able to see those videos using this all student selector feature. Okay, that maintained a little privacy there for students. We're going to talk about topics in a minute, so I'm just going to leave it as no topic for now, and I'm going to click post. Okay, so I have posted just static materials, information, nothing the kids have to send back to me in any way. The second thing you can attach in here are materials that you want your entire class to edit simultaneously. Right, so I'm going to click create, and I'm going to click assignment. All right, volume, task cards. One of the things I did in the spring with my class is I created Google Slides with 1 problem per slide. You and your group will work on the slide number that matches your breakout group number. Be prepared to justify your answers to the class. Okay, so I went to add, and I picked this out of my Google Drive again. Let's see here. Here we go. Okay. There's a drop down at this point. The default is all students can do is look at your file. Okay. But I want everybody to be in here at one time, typing, writing, drawing, talking about math, doing math, being interactive, being collaborative, all of that great stuff. Students can edit file means my entire class will be in this file at the same time. All 35 kids can write on the file, type on the file at the same time. Okay. Come over to the right-hand side and decide, do you want to add this to more than one class? I don't. Do you want this available to all students? Yes, if I want everybody doing it simultaneously, I want it available. Am I actually taking a grade on this? Okay, if you do, you can change the points just by clicking in the box. Let's say this is a 10-point assignment. Or if you click the drop down, you can make it ungraded. Why is my drop down not working? There we go. It's just farther down because I've zoomed in. I would strongly encourage you to put in a due date. You all know that if there's not a due date, the kids don't think it's very important and they will skip it. So I'm going to say it's due next class. You can even put in a time. The times don't work if you check off multiple class periods, though. Just be aware of that. Topics I'm going to come back to. Rubrics and checking plagiarism, that's a more advanced topic. And then I'm going to click Assign in the upper left-hand corner. Okay, literally all of you could open this assignment and start typing in at one time. This is a nice way to get some class involvement. Okay, especially if you do something like Google Slides and break kids out into smaller groups. The third kind of assignment you need to be able to do is when you want each student to get their own individual copy and be able to turn that back into you. So create, assignment, and I have no idea. Slope, puzzle. Okay, I'm going to click add, go to my drive. Let's see. Here we go. Once I click on that, instead of can view file and instead of everybody editing at the same time, I'm going to select make a copy for each student. Okay, when they go to open this, it's going to force them to make a copy, which will automatically save to their drive. And then it's also going to give them a place to submit it when they're done. Back on the right-hand side, you can check off multiple classes. You can assign it to only specific students. You can change the point value. You can change the due dates. And we're going to talk about topics here in just a minute. So I'm going to click Assign. Okay. Now I'm back in the main classwork page. And what I want you to notice is the last thing I did is on top. Okay, Google Classroom automatically puts the newest item at the very top. I'm also just getting a timeline chronological order going to this, and that may not be the best thing, especially as the school year goes on. So there is the ability to create specific topics. And what I'm going to do is actually show you a class from last year. All right, this is my second period class from last year. In my classwork stream, you can see that I have topics. We kept this virtual in-house with the BBCU link organizer on top during distance learning. And then the most current unit directly under that. So our last thing we did was Algebra 2 preparation. I've got another unit here for Unit 11, Unit 10. These topics are really, really helpful for organizing your classwork stream. It's really easy to move things from one topic to another, or even within the topic. So let's say I accidentally posted factoring checkpoint 2 and checkpoint 1, and this is really not the order I want. I can right click, so it's highlighted, and drag it to where I want it to be within the topic. Okay, or maybe this is the wrong assignment sheet for that particular unit. So I'm gonna right click on it and drag it under the topic it really belongs to. So once you have things in your classwork stream, it's very easy to change the topic. So you're not stuck with wherever you originally put it. And I think that's important. Let me go back to our classwork stream. All right, so I want to organize this. I've got volume, I've got slope, I've got a generic handout. I'm going to create some topics. I'm going to click that plus sign, and the last option is topic. All right, Unit 1, Geometry Basics, add. I'm going to create another topic, Unit 12, Solids, add, create topic, general class information. Now I'm going to zoom out for a moment. Notice my topics are listed here on the left-hand side. There's no limit to the number of topics you can have. So anytime you feel like you need to add something to better organize, you can. You have choices for how you get things there. I can right-click and simply drag under the topic, or I can come to the 3 dots, edit, and here on the right-hand side where it says topic and currently it's not assigned to anything, I can click the drop down and select the topic I want it to go under. When I click save, Google Classroom will move it for me. If I don't like the order of these topics, you can only move them up or down. So if I want the solids to be at the very top, I would have to right-click on the 3 dots, move it up, and it's going to move it up 1 topic. Okay. I'm like, oh no, I really wanted class information on top and I want things in numerical order. So I'm going to click on the 3 dots, move down. Then I've got to do it again to get it below geometry basics. You can't drag and drop topics the way you can drag and drop assignments. Alrighty. One of the things you're going to be adding, and I'm going to go ahead and add it to here, is a assignment called, I think, what are you happy about? Let me see. Add Google Drive. In the directions Valerie posted for you, there is a link for this. And what makes you happy? Okay, what makes you happy? Please don't start until I've given you instructions. All right, so Joan has created an activity for us to do in 3rd period next week with our students. It's going to be ungraded, so I'm going to uncheck that. I think we are doing this on September 2nd. So I'm going to make that my due date. For right now, I'm not going to give it a topic, and I'm going to click Assign. Okay. What if you post something you don't want? I don't want this slope puzzle in my learning seminar. I'm going to click on the 3 dots and delete it. Verify you want to delete it. And it's gone. Now, once you do that, it is really gone. If you graded it, if you made comments to kids, if kids made comments to you, gone, gone. No way to retrieve. So before you ever delete, make sure it's what you really wanted. Okay, the stream. The stream is the default page when you first log in. Okay, it's your announcement page. You want to keep that as clean as possible. And I talked about that before, but let me show you why that's so important. Let me go back to my second period class from last year. I did not change that setting that stopped the posting of every single assignment in the stream. So you can see here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 assignments showing up before the announcement I actually want them to read. Okay, when your stream gets cluttered, the kids don't read it. If you actually want them to be able to find and respond to your announcements, you definitely need to change that setting. All right, guys, we have 12
Hey, Andy,
minutes.
real quick, can you go to classwork and try and drag and drop your unit 11 to a different location, just like you would a topic?
Oh, then
grab the
that's going to
topic.
be new.
Yeah, that was added like 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Looks
So
like
you
you can
just
drag and drop topics.
you can
That's
drag and
nice.
drop that now.
Cool, thank you. That's literally new since I started going through making sure that I had the different topics we needed for this class. Thank you. All right, I'm going to take you back to the class I asked you all to join when we first started. Okay, Google Classroom one-on-one getting started and brushing up, because I have thrown a lot of information at you in the last 50 minutes. Okay. It defaults opening to the stream. If you click on classwork, these are all 1 to 4 minute videos. Every topic I talked about today is right here organized under basics. Some things I didn't talk about today that you might want to explore. Making a fancier banner than what Google Classroom allows you to have. Moat. Moat is an extension that allows you to leave verbal feedback. It's not anything the kids have to add, download, sign into, so it's perfectly acceptable for you to use. When you have Moat, I'll go back to my stream, you'll see this little purple M that shows up. You literally click on the M and it immediately starts recording you. You get about 1.5 minutes. And then when you're done, you say you're done. So I'm going to say, hi guys, I love Moat. It's a very quick way to add feedback that doesn't require me to type absolutely everything in. Give it a moment to think and post it. The students will then see this, asking them to click and listen to your feedback. I think it's really powerful.
Sorry. Margie Shapiro just said that she thinks they were told this AM that they could not use Moat.
The kids can't use it, you can use it.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yep, it's something you add and you can leave feedback, they can't. There's a way to create comments in a bank. So if you're constantly saying the same thing over and over to kids, please show your work neatly. Please make sure you watch your integer rules. whatever comments that you need to make over and over again. You can create a bank of comments to make it a lot easier to provide feedback. There's a video on how to do that. There's a video on what I call the holding area that allows you, I'm an over planner. My team teacher will tell you that. I always plan too much. It's not possible to get through it all. So I often have to take things down, but I don't want to have to go through typing the instructions and adding the links and all of that again. So I create a holding area where I can move things temporarily until I'm actually going to use it. And you can also add emojis to the titles of whatever it is you're doing. I know some teachers like to do that because it makes the assignments that students have to do stand out. Some people color code things. So those are more advanced. We didn't have time to talk through those in detail, but the videos are there. And I'm happy to help you with any questions that come up. So, what questions do you guys have that my amazing teammates weren't able to answer for you in the chat? Because I have a feeling that chat was super busy when I couldn't read it.
Andy, Andrew Springer came up with a question about archiving, quite possibly. So I'm going to let Andrew jump on, if that's possible.
Sure.
I want to thank you, Andy. I wanted to save one or more of my classrooms from last spring so I don't have to reinvent the wheel too much.
Yes.
I know I have the option of taking all the students out and then I just have to kind of shell, but I don't want to clog up my dashboard either. How do you archive?
Okay. And that I can definitely do. Let me take you to last year's class, which I had archived, and I actually pulled out of archive so that I could do this with you today. So let me bring the class down a little bit. Here we go. All right, this is a class from last year that I wanted to, I brought out of the archive system. You come over to the main menu, upper left-hand corner. You scroll down to archived classes, and these are all of my archived classes. Now I just did that incorrectly, so let me go back. Go to, sorry, Andrew, go to classes. So go to the three horizontal bars and then select classes. Go to a class you want to archive, in my case, the second period geometry. And click the three little dots that you see there next to the title. Then select archive and confirm you want to do it. I no longer see that class when I log in. I have to specifically go to my archived classes to find it.
Andy, we also had a couple people who needed. I'm sorry, Andrew, go ahead.
Andrew?
I can't see three little dots next to my classes. What am I doing wrong?
Do you see the same kind of presentation that I have?
No, I went into one class at a time. Should I not have done that?
No. Go up to the main menu, the three horizontal bars in the left-hand corner. Select classes so that you see all of your classes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Valerie.
We had a couple people who needed the directions of how to change the settings on your stream options. So way back from the beginning.
Okay.
What post in your stream?
So the email notifications I receive or the post that the students see?
So the settings in the upper right hand corner, Andy, like making sure the classwork appears in the stream or does not appear in the stream.
Gotcha. Okay, so in your learning seminar class, you've got that settings wheel in the upper right hand corner. Click there. Scroll down to where you see General. Okay, under General, ignore all the class inviting information and go to Stream. With this drop-down menu, you can let students comment, you can let students make posts in the announcements, or you can say, only the teacher. I don't want to monitor it, so it's only the teacher for me. Classwork on the stream, this drop-down menu, you really want to make it hide notifications. Otherwise, everything you post in classwork also shows up in the stream, and it just overwhelms kids. Okay, I saw somebody also wanted turning off the emails that you receive.
Yeah, and the one where you had 3 were off and 1 was on.
Yes.
Yeah, where was that again? Thank you.
Okay, so the main menu, upper left-hand corner. Click there, scroll all the way down to the settings at the bottom and click. Okay, under notifications, go to classes you teach. And I'll blow this up a little bit again so that maybe you can see that better as to what I have turned on and off. This is a personal preference thing. But the amount of late work I get, I just don't want to get emails for all of that. So that's what I choose. You've got 3 minutes till the next session if you're planning to attend the next tech session. If you want to leave, feel free to leave. Thank you so much for being here today. If you have questions, I will stay on and answer them.
Hey, Andy. Joanne Mulhill asked, if you unarchive a class, does it show up in the students' classrooms again?
If you left your students in the class, yes. If you remove the students from the class, no.
Question from Dan. He would like to know if this is recorded. Where is it saved? Can you watch this again?
You can watch this again. Joan will send out the link. I think it's in that, not the checklist that's the spreadsheet, but the agenda that lists day by day what we should be doing. She's been going back and putting the links there. And then I do have mini videos for all the subtopics because I always forget stuff after tech presentations.
Yeah, the link to this video will be in the 2021 Teacher Return Weeks document that if you go into our Google Classroom, it's under number 1. So there's the schedule and then there's your checklist and it's in the schedule itself.
I think we're talking right here where it says start here, and then it's this document, the Google Doc. Other questions I can answer for you guys?
Yes, I have one, and it's Kristen here. If I team teach, how do my settings, if I do the email notifications, how is that going to impact what Ryan has put?
It won't. So the email notifications are for you personally.
Okay.
Okay. Amy leaves on the late work because she wants to get the emails. They drive me nuts.
Okay. So one will not affect the other. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
I have a couple of sub questions, but
sure.
I can wait if you want, or
okay.
Since you're recording this, I don't know.
All righty. We'll see if somebody else has something they want to.
Andy, this is Paul Adam. I was wondering, the Google Meets and generating that link, I saw that when you were going through something else. You didn't go over that, I don't think. Did you look at that?
Sure. Let me share my screen again. Okay. So let me go back into my learning seminar. Okay. In your banner, there's a meet link, generate meet link. You can click there. Then click on Generate the Meet link and make sure it's visible to students and click Save. That's all it takes. When your students log in, they just come up here and click on the Meet link and they join you. You can
Okay, thank you.
You can turn it off. Whoops, didn't mean to click that. Get back from that. But you can turn it off by making it not visible to students so that they can't be in there without you. Other questions for the few people that have stuck it out till the bitter end? Well, you guys are amazing. Becky said she had some questions that were going to be specific to substitute. So if you want to hang on for that, feel free. If you don't, feel free to leave and do whatever is next on your agenda for today. I appreciate you guys coming today. So Becky.
Yeah, I think we're
I
good
think
to
so
go.
too.
So
thank you.
So you can probably stop recording if you
I
wanted.
think so too.
Yeah. But all right, have a good one. It went well.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Stop recording.